Joining us now is Bob Herbert, former columnist for the New York Times, currently a senior distinguished fellow at Demos and a contributor to PolicyShop.net and the American Prospect. Mr. Herbert, wonderful to have you here.
It's great to be here, Rachel. This is unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, one, Newt Gingrich as representative of the common man. I mean, I think that's great, too, the 99%. But, you know, hypocrisy is like the default position of the GOP. It's insane. In the first place, they're the ones who are always screaming about the deficit, but they always want tax cuts. I mean, how do you jibe that? But now, you know, a tax cut for the middle class, excuse me, that's no good.
The middle class tax cut there was actually a divide right down the middle at our staff meeting today, and we were talking about what might reasonably explain this, because John Kyle's explanation, he has perfectly explained both sides of it. He's perfectly explained why Republicans are for a payroll tax cut and why they are against it. So he automatically cancels himself out and can't be trusted to give a real answer. So what could be the reason? I mean, the obvious partisan reason is that because President Obama supports it, they're against it just as a knee-jerk reaction. Is it possible that they are against it because it would help the middle class?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, they are fundamentally the defenders of the rich. No one really wants to talk about it as bluntly as that, although many people actually understand that. So they want tax cuts for the very wealthy. It's why the Bush tax cuts were skewed the way they were. The Bush tax cuts could have been more fairly apportioned. You could have had bigger tax cuts for the middle class and not quite so large for the very wealthy, but that's not the way they skewed it. They are the defenders of the 1%, or very often the 1/10 of 1%.
The best way to help, even if your agenda, though, was to help the 1/10 of the 1%, that you are really out there for the Pete DuPonts of the world, right? You're really out there because you're worried about Steve Forbes.
Right.
Even if you wanted to do that, I mean, obviously you want to keep taxes very low for not only just for high income, but for all the different ways that rich people earn their income.
Right.
Things like, you know, deferred interest and all of that stuff that affects the way that hedge funders pay their taxes. But you also want the overall economy to be growing. I mean, when the middle class does better, rich people do better too. And so, why would they be against a middle class? Something that would help them.
This is the part that's a little difficult for me to understand. I remember doing an interview with President Clinton back in the late 90s, and people were getting on his case, and there was a whole tax issue going, but the very wealthy were being very critical of President Clinton. This is late in his presidency, and he said to me, we were in the back of the limousine on the way to the airport in Los Angeles, and he said to me, almost like musing, you know, not as part of the interview, he says, you know, I made a lot of money for those fellas as well, you know. Yeah. Why are they so hard on me? And the very wealthy did extremely well during the Clinton administration. The economy did not do well even before the Great Recession under George W. Bush Jr., but they don't seem to get that. They have this short-term thinking. I want as much as I can get now. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to think about the economy in more than the short term. It seems somewhat bizarre to me. I mean, one of the things that's really extremely hard to understand is why they don't want to do more about employment, because, you know, everybody's going, hurrah, hurrah, there have been a lot of sales on Black Friday and Cyber Monday and that sort of thing. Well, that is how you get the economy moving. If you could put some money into the pockets of working people, it pumps up the economy and everyone does better, including the very wealthy. But they don't seem to see it that way. Are
Democrats effectively taking the other side of this argument?
I actually think that Democrats have been a lot more aggressive lately than I've seen them in a long time. Dems are finally beginning to fight back. Now, will they sustain it? I don't know, but you know, it's good to see it, at least in the short term.
Well, if you did not, I don't know if you caught it or not, but Chuck Schumer tonight earlier on Ed
I did
Schultz,
see Chuck. Chuck was excellent.
I thought that was a, if you did not see the Chuck Schumer appearance on Ed Schultz tonight, watch it on the repeat of Ed Tonight or podcast it. It was really good if you're looking for an example of the kind of thing that Bob is talking about. Bob Herbert, thank you for being here. It's always really nice to have you here.
Great to see you.
Bob Herbert, I should say, is not only a former columnist for the New York Times, currently a distinguished senior fellow at Demos, contributor to PolicyShop.net and to the American Prospect. All right, just ahead, Republican presidential contender Buddy Roemer will be my guest for the interview. I'm very, very pleased to have him on the program. Governor Roemer has never appeared on other TV shows to accuse me of ducking him or claiming that I'm afraid of him, unlike another certain Republican candidate from this year who is no longer in the race. A man I could mention, whose initials are Timbalenti. But I'll talk about that later. Thanks.